Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we are diving deep into a true classic, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Now, this isn't just another self-help book. It's basically a formula for success that Hill put together after spending more than 20 years studying 500 of the most successful people in history. We're talking giants like Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, and Andrew Carnegie. Right from the get-go, Hill hits us with this powerful idea. He's suggesting that wealth isn't always the slow, painful grind. No, it can be a force that you actually attract, and when it shows up, it's often like a flood. This really sets the stage for a way of thinking that operates on a whole different level. And here it is, the absolute bedrock of his entire philosophy. Thoughts are things. Hill is making a pretty bold claim here, that every single great achievement, every fortune, it all starts as just an idea, a simple thought. This book is essentially the blueprint for how you can take that intangible thought and systematically turn it into its physical counterpart, actual riches. Okay, so how do you actually turn a thought into wealth? I know, it sounds a little out there, but Hill gives us a very clear first step, and it all starts with desire. And I don't mean just a casual wish like, I'd like to be rich. We're talking about a deep, driving, all-consuming purpose. Let's look at this guy, Edwin C. Barnes. His story is incredible. He was absolutely determined to become Thomas Edison's business partner. So he shows up at Edison's office with zero money, looking like a tramp, but, and this is the key part, Hill says his thoughts were those of a king. For 5 straight years, he took a menial job, no promises, no guarantees. But in his own mind, he was already Edison's partner. That's the kind of conviction we're talking about. You see, what Barnes had wasn't just a wish. Hill gives it a name. A burning desire. It's when a purpose becomes so intense, it's your dominating obsession. It's that state of mind where you are literally willing to burn the ships behind you, cutting off any chance of retreat. There is no plan B. This quote just perfectly captures Barnes's mindset, right? He staked his entire future on one single purpose. There was no, well, I'll give this a shot for a while. Nope. It was all or nothing. And Hill argues that this is exactly the level of commitment you need to turn desire into reality. Okay, so a burning desire gives you the fuel, the motivation. But that alone isn't going to get you across the finish line. You need a vehicle to get you to your destination. And that vehicle is a practical, organized plan, one that's built on the right kind of knowledge. Now, this is a really important distinction. We've all heard the phrase, knowledge is power, right? Well, Hill says, not so fast. Knowledge is only potential power. It's basically useless until you organize it into a clear plan of action. Think about it. Millions of people have knowledge, but very few have the organized plans to make that knowledge truly valuable. Henry Ford is the perfect example of this. So, during a lawsuit, a lawyer tried to make Ford look ignorant by grilling him with all these general knowledge questions. And Ford, who didn't have a lot of formal schooling, made this brilliant point. Why should he clutter up his mind with a bunch of facts when he knew exactly where to find the specialized experts he needed to get any job done? This quote just says it all. Ford's real power wasn't in knowing everything himself. It was in his ability to organize and direct a team of specialists, what Hill would later call a mastermind group, and aim them toward a specific goal. He didn't need the answers in his head, he just needed them at his fingertips. All right, but let's be real. Even with a burning desire and a genius plan, you are going to hit roadblocks. You're going to face setbacks. And this is the point where most people give up. Which brings us to the next absolutely critical principle, persistence. 10,000. Just let that number sink in. That's roughly how many times Hill says Thomas Edison met with temporary defeat before he finally perfected the incandescent light bulb. He didn't see them as failures. He saw them as 10,000 ways that didn't work, each one getting him closer to the one that would. This right here is a total game changer. Hill completely reframes what failure means. It's not the end of the road. It's just a signal, a message that your plan isn't quite right yet. And inside every single setback is the seed of an equivalent success, an opportunity to learn, to build a better plan, and to go again. Persistence is what allows you to find that seed. So, if the formula is desire, plans, and persistence, what's stopping everybody from being successful? Well, Hill argues it's usually not some external force, it's an internal one. The final and maybe the greatest obstacle of all is fear. And here's the really interesting part. Hill says fear doesn't just show up fully formed. It's sneaky.
It starts out as something small, indecision. And if you let it, that indecision slowly hardens into doubt. And eventually, doubt and indecision team up and grow into full-blown fear, a force that paralyzes you and kills action before you even start. Hill identifies these 6 basic fears as the root cause of most of our self-sabotage. The fear of poverty might stop you from taking a risk on a new business. The fear of criticism might keep you from sharing that brilliant idea at work. Hill says these fears are what cause procrastination, kill ambition, and ultimately lead to failure. They have to be consciously faced and mastered. And this brings us to the ultimate takeaway of the entire book. The key to overcoming fear, to being persistent, to building great plans, it all lies in the one thing, the only thing you have absolute control over, your own mind. By choosing which thoughts you allow to dominate your consciousness, you literally seize control of your own destiny. So, we're left with this question, a question for you. If a thought is truly the starting point of all riches, and you are the master of your thoughts, what is the one definite burning desire that you will choose to focus on? Because according to Napoleon Hill, making that single choice, well, that's the first and most powerful step you can possibly take.